I'm Bob from World 5 List, and I want to ask you, do you know what's under the sea? Do you know what's really under the sea? And did you know that there are creatures of the waters that are massive? Join me as I reveal to you 10 of the biggest underwater creatures that you probably don't know exist. Number 10. The Japanese spider crab. Now for starters, let's think about some sea creatures that you'd see on or near a beach. What's the first thing that comes to mind? I know for me it's a crab, so they're always wandering around, and if you're not careful you can step on it and get pinched, which you'll regret. Now the crab that you likely picture is probably small, or if you've seen programs like The Deadliest Catch, you'll know that crabs can be large depending on the species. However, none of them have anything on the Japanese spider crab. Not only is the thing massive, it's terrifying to think that it does actually exist. From one leg to the other, it spans 12 feet long, which is way bigger than any other crab in existence. And what's more, it's actually the largest arthropod in the world, and that in itself is pretty impressive. It is still terrifying though, and thank goodness that we don't have to see them very often because they often live underwater. Number 9. Giant clams. When you hear those words, giant clams, you're likely thinking about a movie that you've seen or a television show that exaggerated the massive size of clams. Regardless though, giant clams are actually very real, and they can get very big. In fact, the largest one that was ever recorded was 4 foot 6 inches wide. And what's even more impressive is the fact that the clam was apparently over 500 pounds. That's heavy. Even beyond that, they can be found in deep waters as well as shallow surfaces. And if you're one of those people who fears getting caught inside of a giant clam, you're right. The sheer weight of the clam's body coming down on you is likely going to make it so that you can't get out without a serious fight. And yes, they don't grow to the size of regular human adults, but 4 feet for a clam is really nothing to scoff at. Sadly though, many species of the giant clam are actually endangered, so let's all hope that that stops soon. Number 8. The Portuguese Man of War. The sea is truly full of wonders, and because of that, they're still trying to learn all the secrets that it holds. Take for example the Portuguese Man of War. When you look at it, what species of animal do you think it is? Maybe it's a jellyfish, and that's a good guess, but you're actually incorrect. In fact, the Portuguese Man of War is a collection of organisms that work together to move and act as one. It's an incredible feat when you think about it, because as this is a creature that literally has to work together with thousands of others in order to survive, it does so really well on their own, and every single one of the organisms would die by itself. The Man of War has another name that should get your attention: the Floating Terror. And that's because this is a venomous creature. Getting stung by it is not only painful, but in the right amounts can also be fatal. And furthermore, the Man of War is also a carnivore, and it uses its army of organisms to ensure its prey and devour them slowly. Now, why does this fascinating creature make my list? Well, just like a jellyfish, the Man of War has tentacles, and the largest ones that were ever recorded have gone to be 135 feet long, which is so wrong on so many levels. To be fair though, that's the extreme number, because the average Man of War is around 30 feet long, but it's still a lot of reach for such a venomous creature. Number 7. Ocean Sunfish. This creature is affectionately known as the Swimming Head. And can you guess why? That's right, it's because it doesn't have a tail. If you look really close, you're going to see that it's literally all rigid, save for its mouth, of course. This massive head can grow as big as 10 feet long and tall. Its fins, which is actually how it swims, can be extended in such a way that it's going to make the creature the same height, both length and width-wise. The sunfish actually feeds on small jellyfish of all things, but can also eat various fish and even squids. As for the predators that feast upon them, it's limited due to its size, and to that end, animals like sharks, orcas, and even sea lions become its most vicious predators. This fish is something else, and that's probably why you didn't know about it to begin with. Number 6, the giant squid. Here be monsters. Whether on the land, in the air, or in the ocean, there are tales of massive creatures that roam the waters and have caused havoc for humans that have gotten in their way. The giant squid, well, that's most certainly one of them. In fact, many feel that the giant squid is the basis for the legendary Kraken, which is understandable given how massive the creature is. I'm talking 40 feet from tip of its head to the end of its tentacles, and that makes it the largest cephalopod in the world. Not only that, it's because of the fact that they reside mostly in the deepest and darkest waters of the oceans that scientists have honestly had such a hard time or even ability to understand them further, which could mean that there are even bigger versions of the giant squid out there, including the possibility of the Kraken itself. Number 5, the Basking Shark. Sharks, well, they're famous, and they're also notorious, some of them being the most vicious and aggressive creatures in the ocean. Now, it might surprise you to learn, though, that the basking shark is not only the second largest fish in the ocean itself, but it's also one of the most gentle. That sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? A massive shark that's gentle? But it is true, very true in fact. Despite the basking shark growing to be 40 feet long, which is the current record for the species, it only eats plankton, fish eggs, and larvae. And that just boggles my mind. Even more, the look of the creature is very unique. Its mouth is massive, and which you should expect from a creature of its size, right? But it's likely that this mouth allows it to get the food that it needs from a more wider area. Other things it doesn't share with its shark brethren is the fact that it's actually pretty slow, to the extent that it doesn't try to evade things coming at it, including boats. However, it's proven to be a bad thing because their slow speed and gentle nature have led them to being hunted in great numbers, which has led to their population plummeting in some cases. Number 4, the whale shark. And if the basking shark is the second largest fish in the sea, what would be the first? Well, of course, it's the whale shark, another creature that sounds like an oxymoron, yet this time it works out when you think about it. After all, whales are massive. The largest recorded whale shark comes in at just under 62 feet long. That's nearly 10 times my size. But yet again, it is a very gentle and kind creature, and it even likes when humans find it and swim with it, proving that whale instincts trump shark instincts yet again. And like the basking shark, it eats the smallest of things to survive, in its case, plankton, leaving us all to realize that nature truly is full of wonders. Number 3, the oarfish. And speaking of wonders, we now talk about one that's so mysterious, so odd, so rarely seen, that when it was first taken in a picture, people actually thought of it as a hoax. I talk of the oarfish. It's a large fish that's actually the largest bony fish alive. In fact, the largest one that was ever found was 36 feet long, and because of its look, with it being so slender and lacking in detail, it's made many feel that the creature is the reason that tales of sea serpents or even dragons were created, which would make sense to an extent because they're all over the world in the waters that have temperate or tropical temperatures. However, just because a creature can be seen doesn't mean that it will be. Remember when I said that the first time it was seen it was thought of as a hoax? That's because the oarfish resides in areas of the ocean far more deep than most humans have ever dared to travel. In fact, scientists actually believe that they live at nearly 3,000 feet below the sea level. The few times that you do see them is when they wash up dead on the shore, which makes you wonder how they got there to begin with. Still, it's not a hoax, and that's for sure. Number 2, the blue whale. In fact, the blue whale is so huge that it dwarfs many man-made creations. This is a creature that's nearly 110 feet long, and basically that equates to an 11-story building, and it probably weighs just as much too. People who study the blue whale believe that its average weight is 441,000 pounds. Their hearts alone, well, they're the size of a Toyota Corolla. Can you hear the awe in my voice? Because it's legit. The blue whale is massive and wondrous. And that makes it all more tragic that these majestic creatures were almost wiped out because of commercial whaling. Thankfully, though, humanity did wise up and put them on the global ban list for whaling, and they were able to get the numbers of the blue whales back to a healthy size. They're not out of the woods yet, but they're getting closer every day, and that's something to be thankful for. Number 1. The lion's mane jellyfish. Now, when I talked about the Portuguese Man of War, I noted that its tentacles reached, at their peak, 135 feet long, but noted that it was pretty rare. In contrast to that, though, the lion's mane jellyfish averages a tentacle length of 120 feet, and that's not including their bodies, and means also that their tentacles are bigger than the biggest creature in the sea via the blue whale. It's extraordinary and terrifying, but shall I add to that terror? The head of the lion's mane jellyfish has been recorded as being 7 feet in diameter. Now, more interesting, the jellyfish prefers colder waters like the Arctic Ocean and waters of the northern Pacific Ocean. Despite their long bodies, they're not powerful in terms of propulsion. In fact, they often rely on the ocean's very own currents in order to guide them here and there. Yet that doesn't seem to be a problem in regards to getting food, because its tentacles have a really wide range. Thanks for watching. Tell me which of the creatures on my list was your favorite, and if I missed any that should have been noted in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.